guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be looking at some entitled people who got roasted by Dr. Phill.
Obsessed with looking perfect.
Okay, I feel like I already know what these people are going to be. Like, they're going to be like people who go on the show for attention. I've noticed that, like, recently a lot of, like, social media people are, like, personalities have been going on to, like, reality TV shows. Whether it's Dr. Phill or just, like, any other, like, show online. And they basically just act like a brat because they know it's going to get them attention. Like, TV ain't the same. Like, it's not like Jerry Springer or Jeremy Kyle in the early 2010s.
We understand the desire to want to look your best in public, but there are some people out there who take it way too far. One such individual is Tamara, a 17-year-old who dropped out of high school because of her obsession with her looks.
Wait, so she just dropped out of high school? I'm telling you right now, if I dropped out of high school, my parents would not allow it. I love how I say that whenever I literally dropped out of school age 16. I mean, I done my GCSEs and I didn't go back for A-levels. But like, she does not look like a 17-year-old. She looks like someone who's 24.
Tamara says she would take 3 hours to do her makeup with school starting at 7 a.m.
So school starts at 7, so she's up by like 4 doing her makeup. I mean, don't like schools ban makeup. Like, I swear you're only allowed to put a wee bit of foundation and eyeliner on. Also, something I don't understand is why girls spend so much time getting ready. I don't know how they do it. Obviously, they want to like make themselves look beautiful, but like, it's such a long process. For me, I literally get into the shower, clean it with like shampoo, get out, let it dry, and then get out of the house within 20 minutes. To be fair, my hair is looking a bit scruffy. I cut it and it is looking a bit uneven. But like with girls, even doing their hair, it could take them up to an hour.
On top of that, she spends thousands of dollars on makeup products every month.
Every month. I mean, makeup is very expensive, but thousands of dollars a month, that is excessive. Also, I could not do makeup because like my skin, absolutely not. My skin's actually cleared up recently. Like, I usually get pimples around here, but if I wore makeup, I actually would look like a pepperoni pizza.
You might try filling yourself up by giving of your heart and your spirit and your soul, where you actually did something where you weren't totally focused on yourself.
Okay, I'm gonna be completely honest, I don't know what Dr. Phil's saying. I don't know if I'm just stupid, but like, I don't understand what they're saying a lot of the time. It's kind of like whenever you talk to somebody for advice and they just like to tell you words, they don't actually give you advice.
Phill isn't nearly as savage with her as he is with some of the guests we'll be seeing later on this list, taking a more gentle approach, but he does drop a handful of truth bombs to set her straight.
I mean, yeah, he probably just told her to like suck it up and get her act together. Realistically, she probably went on to Dr. Phill for attention. Ever since the Kashmir Side Girl went on, people just go in there for attention because they know like it'll get them views.
Out of control teen who duct taped a kid's mouth. Courtney is a 17-year-old who feels no shame about her overly aggressive behavior.
You duct taped a disabled kid's mouth shut.
What? I'm sorry, what? She should not be in Dr. Phill, she should be in prison. So you're telling me she went up to a disabled kid and taped their mouth together? Hello, that is literal like criminal behavior.
Yes, I did.
The hell are you thinking?
He wouldn't shut up.
But it doesn't matter, like, if he didn't shut up, you still don't do that. I don't know what disability he had, but it could have been something like autism or, like, something where, like, he makes excessive noise. Just because he's being loud, like, doesn't mean you can duct tape his mouth. Don't get me wrong, sometimes people can be loud and annoying and you want to do it, but you shouldn't do it.
As Dr. Phill tries to understand her way of thinking, Courtney responds with nothing but self-aggrandizing statements, doubling down on her egotistical ways. But when Dr. Phill asks her to explain why she's so special, she doesn't have much to offer by way of response, coming off as a cartoonish embodiment of selfish teens.
I mean, yeah, by the sounds of it, she's a horrible girl. Imagine duct taping somebody's mouth shut. That is actually too far. Like, that genuinely is, like, inappropriate.
What is it that's so special about you?
Everything.
Make a list for me.
Everything.
Everything. You seem pretty boring to me. I mean, you actually seem like a psychopath. Imagine doing that to a poor kid with disabilities. You know, people with disabilities have life hard enough, full stop. Whenever you got people like her, like, duct taping them, like, that is too far.
Facing the problem head on, the host then promptly suggests they plaster her name all over her school. Way to put her behavior on the spot, Phill. Sadly, in the moment, this teen seems too deluded to understand the point he's trying to make.
Exactly, like, they never actually will understand the point. She just is like an evil person. I really wonder what goes on in these people's head. Like, do you reckon she got like happiness and like enjoyment out of doing that to the kid? I really do feel bad for the kid. Like, I hope she got like kicked out of that school.
Self-admitted rebel who physically assaults mother. Whereas most of the kids on our list are the main problems in the house, Dakota is actually the one who called in to see Dr. Phill, wanting to help improve her relationship with her mother.
Okay, so whenever it comes to child and parent relationships, I try not to get involved that much because like it can be really complicated. Sometimes if you do bicker with your mum, it is something that really hurts you deep down. Sometimes me and my mum will argue and I'll literally look at her and be like, I want to punch you, but obviously, like, I wouldn't punch her. However, in this case, I think she actually physically assaulted her mom. Look, I'm all for people being angry in their head and, like, making up scenarios in their head, but, like, don't actually physically assault someone.
I don't want to have to restrain my child, but when she's punching me in the face and hurting me.
I mean, you have to keep in mind, like, if she is hurting you, like, if somebody is getting hurt, I would recommend, and, like, calling the police or, like, removing yourself from the situation. Sometimes if you've been stuck in a house with somebody for, like, too long, it can turn you crazy, and especially if you're constantly arguing. I mean, either way, I don't care if the mum's, like, done bad things, it still doesn't give the daughter a reason to punch the mum in the face.
She gets points for that, but there are a few times where she really tests his patience. First off, Dakota interrupts Phill to throw some irrelevant shade at the audience. Then, she swears a few times too many.
I'm not all up in her face trying to beat her up.
But watch your mouth. Don't talk like that on this stage.
Exactly, Dr. Phil's like, you better watch your mouth, sunshine. Much if Dr. Phil was a boxer, like, these kids get too yappy, he'll just jump up and punch them.
Moments after that, Dakota goes on a tangent and pretends that Phill isn't helping. Like any other working person, the doctor doesn't appreciate being told how to do his job, especially if the person he's trying to help is not listening.
Also, like, does he actually help the people? I'm gonna be completely honest, I don't really think he helps the people, like, he just gets them and milks them for views. I mean, obviously in this situation, like, there is something going on, and I really hope, like, they do amend and, like, get back like that together. I hope, like, they can sort their problems out.
Why don't you listen to Dr. Phill?
Okay, I'd seen that face and that was not a nice attitude. Obviously, the mum isn't perfect, like, she's probably done stuff, but by far the daughter's not perfect. I mean, she just is acting like a brat, and I hate how kids act like that. Like, I'm not joking, kids are actually so rude nowadays, like, they've got balls. If I acted like that to my mum, like, I probably would get slapped.
Believes she should tell people they're ugly. Have you ever wondered what goes on inside a bully's head? While we often tend to give them the benefit of the doubt and assume they're struggling with personal problems, sometimes they just make it so hard.
I mean, I'm gonna be completely honest, like, I do look at people and I'm like, oh god, they are a bit ugly. Obviously, I wouldn't go up to them and say that they're ugly, but if this girl's actually doing it, then that's just horrible.
You're telling me that you never consider the impact of what you say.
No, I do not.
Is that because you're not very smart?
Oh god, Phill is throwing shade. I mean, in her case, I've got a feeling she just is like a very straightforward person who's also nasty. A lot of people are like that on social media, especially in Twitter, like stan accounts. I'm not joking, stan accounts really scare me. Like, people are horrible whenever they're pretending to be like an Ariana Grande fan page or a BTS fan page.
One of the teens accused of bullying on this episode tries to justify her actions by saying, quote, somebody has to tell people they're ugly, only to talk about how smart she is moments later.
I mean, look, you're allowed to think if someone's ugly, but just keep it to yourself. Look, don't be the type of person to go up and be horrible to them. But I won't lie, if somebody does start an argument with me and they start talking about my appearance and start being horrible like that to me, I feel like everyone's got the right to turn around and be horrible back.
The best part comes at the end of Phil's thoughts, when he negates everything the bully tried explaining. He not only puts her in her place, he peels back the layers to reveal her true motivations, whether she's willing to accept them or not.
I mean, in her case, I'm just gonna assume that she is just a mean person. I mean, there are people out in the world who are just mean, like, they get a kick out of being mean to people. It's quite scary, isn't it? Like, that's literally why I don't interact with any humans whatsoever.
Do you think I've been disrespectful to you today?
No.
I've tried to tell you what I think without hurting your feelings. It's just one way of doing things.
Exactly, like, you can always be honest to somebody, whether it's a friend or a family member. If they're wearing a dress and it looks atrocious, just say you don't like the dress. You think they'd look better in something else. Don't be like her where you go up to them and say you look ugly.
Mother worries he may become a school shooter. The link between aggressive behavior and violent video games is the subject of ongoing debate, but there's clearly more going on here than the video games this kid has been playing.
Okay, this is like an unpopular opinion, but if I play video games and I'm doing bad, I will turn violent, I turn angry. So that's why I don't really play video games that much. Sometimes I'll play them, sometimes I won't. A lot of people are like, oh, video games do not make people violent. If you are playing a video game and you are losing, you will become very angry, like the majority of people will. I don't know if that'll necessarily go into violence and, like, you know, skill shooting, but it can definitely make people aggressive. It's also quite scary to think that, like, obviously people joke about, oh, he's like a skill shooter, like that boy in the back of your class is definitely a skill shooter. In some cases, there's a possibility there might be.
Sometimes, to release my anger, I grab a golf club and I go crazy on my door. These are the holes from where I did it.
Okay, so he's literally smacking holes in his door of a golf club. First of all, why is there a golf club in his room? And second of all, would it not be good to like step in and like try to get him help? I mean, I feel like a lot of the times these people and like parents just look at the kid and be like, oh, it's typical kid behavior. But it's like, if I got a golf club and like started beating my door, my parents would call the police.
This 12-year-old Fortnite and Grand Theft Auto addict displays some seriously rotten, entitled behavior. While talking to Dr. Phill, he kind of shrugs off his abuse towards his mother. To further help him understand how poorly he's treated her, Phill talks him through the various factors that come into raising a kid.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of iffy with kids of that age being in a show like that. He's a 12-year-old, like 12-year-olds are horrible, but like, is this behavior acceptable? Absolutely not. Like, it probably is quite extreme. But it's like, do I agree with him being put on the Dr. Phil show and being plastered online as like someone who wants to be a school shooter? No, because it's like in 8 years, whenever he's like 20 years old, people are gonna look back at that and be like, oh my god, was that you? I mean, I really do hope it's a phase with these kids, but like, sometimes it isn't.
Where are you going to work? You're 12.
I could walk dogs.
Me, like I was literally me. To be fair, whenever I was like 13 or 14, I did apply to work at a farm. That is quite crazy. Like, I literally like wrote out a full-on email wanting to work there. And then they like messaged me back saying I need to be at least like 16 or 17.
Judging from his responses, Alex clearly doesn't understand everything that goes into being an adult. Hopefully, his attitude will change before he hits 18.
I mean, yeah, like, it could be a phase, but then it could not be a phase. Like, this could be something that like spirals and then it turns out with like bad situation. I mean, I'm just hoping and praying that like the kid snaps out of it and that they like take the games away. I mean, I'm gonna be completely honest, whenever I'm not playing video games and getting angry, I'm like so much happier.
Acts hostile towards mom and wants to be a YouTube star.
Okay, I think I've seen this girl before. I swear Sniper Wolf made a video on her. This is like the typical person that I'm talking about whenever it comes to like people going in Dr. Phil for attention.
This hostile high school dropout thinks she's got everything figured out. Throughout the show, Brittany makes it clear that high school is stupid, believing she can simply get a GED in cosmetology and crime scene investigation.
Okay, so she dropped out of school to become a YouTuber, now she wants to get a GED in criminology or something like that. That sounds like something you have to go to like university for.
She thinks she's so smart that she even begins mocking Dr. Phill, claiming that she's got him figured out.
You're gonna try and knock me down and pick me apart and find my weak spot. I don't have a weak spot.
If somebody says that, they most certainly do have a weak spot. Oh my god, why is my eye twitching? Like my eye just had a mini stroke. But if people are like, oh, I don't have a weak spot, you're gonna try and like pick at it. They are very insecure.
After she delivers an extensive explanation on what he does to knock people down and pick them apart, Phill admits defeat, albeit in a condescending way.
Sure got me figured out.
He just lets her talk, and she does it to herself.
Exactly, like she literally talks and embarrasses herself. Yet again, she probably is just going on the Phill show for attention, and she got attention.
You don't scare me.
Not trying to.
He's trying to get you to wake up.
Dr. Phil's just looking at that girl and he's like, you look like an absolute muppet right now. Shut up and go make your YouTube videos.
Parents are scared of daughter. Much like Courtney and Dakota, Madison has gotten so aggressive with her parents, it's become violent, causing her father to believe she might kill them.
Oh my god, what did she just do in that video? She proper tried to whip them. Whenever it comes to behavior like this, it's like, is it a child being a child or is it like something serious? I mean, I'm gonna be completely honest, if I had a child and they acted like that, I wouldn't know how to respond. It would be quite scary.
Never want to talk to you again! Never! Please!
Why is she proper screeching? I mean, I acted like that whenever I was like 6 or 7, pulling tantrum. I remember I did say to my mom one time, I hope you burn in a house fire. Oh my god, thinking about it now, was I like one of these kids?
When Dr. Phill calls her out for taking her mother's car for a joyride.
Wait a minute, how old is she? And she took her mum's car for a joyride. I don't know what a joyride is, but I'm pretty sure that's whenever you steal someone's car and drive around in it. I can't even drive, and by the looks of it, she shouldn't be able to drive. Hello, is she asking to get in a car crash and die? How does she even know how to drive a car?
Madison decides to play dumb. That is, until Phill puts up her social media post on screen.
This is why you don't plaster your life over social media, because whenever it comes to situations like that, he'll just pull the video up and be like, this you.
Madison once again tries to derail the conversation, but the doctor is not having it.
Well, it's kind of hard to explain away video evidence, isn't it?
Phill makes it very obvious that he knows the full story, and he tells Madison that either she can tell the truth or he will. The situation got so intense that Madison eventually walked off stage, only returning returning after a commercial break.
Oh, so she walked off and then returned. I mean, I'm assuming in this situation she's been caught red-handed and she doesn't know how to respond. Also, notice how she was like quiet. I'm telling you, the people who make the most noise or like act the worst way always act like that until they get confronted and then they just are silent.
Accused by her mother of stealing cars and framing her for a crime.
Oh my god, right, okay, so I heard about this girl. I follow her on Instagram. I think she has gotten better, and to be fair, she's like made a lot of money. She made 50 million off OnlyFans. I mean, I might make an OnlyFans if you're making that amount of money.
Of course, we had to include this guest on our list. Before she started her career in music, Danielle Bregoli appeared on Dr. Phil's show after her mother accused her of framing her.
Catch me outside. How about that?
Huh?
Catch me outside. How about that?
And that is the famous quote that started her career. Obviously, like, she wasn't the best teen, but like, she grew up and she's actually like doing pretty decent. Her and her mom have like got quite a good relationship as well. Like, they're actually getting along with each other. But I mean, you know, it's just scary.
In the middle of her discussion, Danielle taunted an audience member and incoherently blurted out, "Catch me outside, how about that?" It took Dr. Phil a hot minute to figure out exactly what she'd said. Can we blame him? After another bit of broken English, the doc finally, and savagely we might add, asks her what's on everyone's mind.
Did you go to the 5th grade?
Oh my god, he is a savage. Also, keep in mind, she's 13 during this video. 13-year-olds are acting like that. Like, that's why I'm literally scared of kids. It's also quite crazy to think that that was like, how many years ago? 5 or 6 years ago. Oh my god, time has flown by.
Smokes weed and claims to be mature enough to be in a sexual relationship. This segment went south real fast. Gabrielle is a pot-smoking 14-year-old who claims she's old enough to be in a sexual relationship.
Okay, first of all, 14-year-olds should not be in a sexual relationship and they should not be smoking pot. I used to think that I was a pretty bad child, but actually, whenever I look at these kids, I realize I was quite a good child. I was having a conversation with my mum quite recently where I was like, you know, was I good or bad? And she was like, do you want to know something? You had your few blips with your few tantrums, but overall, you never done drugs, you never got in trouble with the police, and you basically obeyed what you were told to do. So overall, I was a pretty good kid.
When it's revealed that her mother has been allowing this behavior, Dr. Phil goes nuts.
And when you say, I'm giving her dope because all kids smoke dope anyway, that's absolutely, unequivocally untrue.
Exactly, like, why would a mother give her 14-year-old daughter marijuana? Is that what dope is? I mean, a 14-year-old should not be smoking that. If she's like 18, she can make her own decision. Not at 14.
For a solid 2 minutes, he tells off Gabrielle's mother for committing a federal crime and nonchalantly admitting it in front of the Department of Children and Family Services.
Oh my god, so like there's an actual member there in front of her that she's admitted it in front of. She's lucky she ain't gonna get arrested. But yet again, it's like parents like that, like they need to be strict with their children. Giving your child weed is not good.
You can roll your eyes and you can be sarcastic all you want. You are committing a crime.
Ma'am.
Yeah.
You are committing a crime.
Gabrielle begins to act out, but when Dr. Phil is this steamed, you best keep your mouth shut.
Exactly, like you don't want to get in the bad side of Dr. Phil. I don't understand why these parents act like that. Like, oh my god, why? You always look at these kids and you're like, why are they acting like that? And you just have to look at the parents. Giving a 14-year-old weed is not good parenting.
Even the medical director of the DCFS chimes in, dropping a hard truth on the entire family.
If you wanna have a crack at her,
But you're breaking
challenge
the
you.
law.
Okay. Oh no.
Yeah.
Okay, what did you just say?
Oh my god, the daughter was like, oh no, and then Dr. Phil was like, what'd you just say? I mean, she is breaking the law and she could, like, get arrested.
Selfish and entitled Beverly Hills teen. 15-year-old Nicolette gets $1,000 from her mother every month and wants a car worth over 200 grand.
Yet again, why is the mother feeding into this habit? Like, just take her money away. This is like the typical rich, like, irritating teen. I'm so happy that I was not brought up in a family like that because I don't want to know what I'd be like.
My mom's buying a Bentley for herself. Why can't I get a G-Wagon?
Her mother has had it with her, going so far as to nickname her the Beverly Hills Brat.
I mean, I'm gonna be completely honest, I think they only went in the show for attention. Like, this is perfect for people like that. Like, they get the most views.
At first, Phil plays along with Nicolette's ridiculous behavior. Nicolette seems to think he's on her side, but oh, how she was proven wrong. Towards the end of the show, Dr. Phil tells her mother that Nicolette needs to get a job. The girl starts crying so much that her tears could fill the doctor's mug.
Oh my god, yeah, I remember that she like proper cried because like she was told she needs to get a job and she's not gonna get any more money. I mean, whenever it comes to entitled brats like her, I think it's best they should get a job.
Absolutely, she needs a job.
Well, sometime after the show, she did get a job as a social media personality.
I mean, that just suits her perfectly. Basically, that's what they're all like. I mean, either way, I think they had an intention of going on the show, and that intention was for money and fame. And you know, it worked in the end. She's now famous. Anyways, guys, that's some entitled people who were roasted by Dr. Phill. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you're a book, subscribe button, and yes, I'll see you all in my next video.